This is Koichi Iwasa, DogsorCaravan.com. Welcome to DogsorCaravan's interview room. Today I'm here with Ms. Kaori Niwa-san, UTMB athlete ambassador, here with me as co-interviewer in this session. And we are joined by Ms. Catherine Poletti, the president of the UTMB group, who has just made a big announcement last Thursday, launch of the UTMB World Series. How are you, Catherine?
I'm fine, very fine. And it's the beginning of a very big adventure and a new travel, a new event with all these races linked around the same project to propose beautiful adventure with UTMB standards to everybody in each country.
Okay. Then, Kaori-san, you have already. So how did you? What was your first impression when you heard the new World Series, UTMB World Series project?
Well, first of all, I was really surprised, and I didn't really expect this change. But I got really excited as an elite runner. It's like the final race is UTMB, and everyone sort of target that. And we sort of fight on the series, UTMB World Series, and then we can get the position in UTMB, and that's gonna sort of bring up the quality of elite runners, I think. And especially like Japanese races don't really have world standard races yet. So I think this move will change Japanese racing situation as well. So I think it's really good move.
Okay. So yeah, Kaori-san says so she was really positive about the new World Series, but and of course I am as well. But the announcement of the UTMB World Series literally shook up the global trail running community last weekend for a weekend. So some people shouted very negatively about its dirty commercialism or something, and their voices sounded very loud in my Twitter timeline. How do you feel about all those feedbacks right now, Catherine?
But from the beginning, as soon as you want to do something very great, it is impossible that everybody love you. And often, the person who have a bad feeling are more noisy than the other one. In the same time, we do our best because today it is impossible in the valley of the Mont Blanc to welcome more people than we do in the end of August. And if you have a look, in 2017, we had 17,000 demands. In 2018, we had 24,000 demands. And in 2019, we had more than 32,000 demands. And to answer to all these demands, we had until 2019 the possibility to change the rules of qualification with a number of points, more and more and more points, with more and more and more races. And we saw it was impossible to ask to the runners to do so many races everywhere in the world to keep points. So we needed to change the approach, and it's because of that, because it is impossible to have more people here, we have to go to the people. And it's the reason why we imagine to have many races with UTMB standards and the UTMB rules to go in the other country. And we did that with a respect of the countries. And as you can see, when we were in Thailand, where we were in China, where we were in Argentina, it was really China, Thailand, Argentina, but with the same sport rules. And this is not the case today in UTWT. The case in UTWT is that a lot of races are independent and only to say, okay, we have a race of this tour, but with many different rules about the sport. And we thought it was impossible for the athletes to have 30 mandatory kits different, to have each time to learn the rules because they are not the same. And it's the reason why we decided to go with the same rules, the same thing of the base, and to go in the other country.
Okay, so basically, so UTMB has revamped its registration system because of the growth of applications, right? So yes, storms or something like that. So this is again, this new World Series is another attempt to accommodate more people for UTMB culture or sharing value sharing races. That's what I understand it. And but let's talk about the most biggest question for myself, from my side. So it's about what kind of races will be lined up as a World Series event, which will be, I bet it will be announced in the UTMB Mont-Blanc week in August. That's my assumption, but I don't know. But even it's third quarter of this year, so you will unveil full list of 30 events of the UTMB World Series, right? So my question is, so last week you showed a list of just eight events, so which has no race in North America, no race in France, and no in Japan as well. And so everyone is curious what kind of races we will lined up in the other 20 or more races. So what do you think about that? So I'm thinking about some really established some races in Japan or United States should be included, but those races are very their own history and their own legacy. So I'm guessing you are getting more events in frontier countries like Oman or Thailand. What would be like other 22 or more events? Just idea. You could give us idea.
Firstly, we study about all the communities and all the person who come and who make demands to come on UTMB Mont-Blanc. And we saw there is a lot of Japanese, there is a lot of Chinese, there is a lot from Thailand, and a lot from USA, and a lot from everywhere in the world. And we had a look very precise where are the biggest communities of runners. And now we are in discussion with more than 8, of course. These 8 one exists already, but when we say in 2022 there is around 30 races in the tour, it is big, and we don't say which are these races. It is because we are in discussion with them, and we need to be sure that these races, these events, want to work with us, with the same sport rules, with the same standards. And before, to be sure they agree about that, we cannot say who they are. And then we announce also that the circuit would be announced in the third in the autumn, during the autumn. So we ask to all the runners to be able to understand what we need to be sure that we are working and that we will announce it in the autumn what will be the 2022 circuit. And
So what? Just
the
one question.
idea,
So yeah, okay, go on. Idea.
the idea now, after the COVID, after this pandemic, is that we realize that everybody don't need to come to the Mont Blanc absolutely. Everybody don't need to cross the planet to do a distance. And now the idea is that we want the runners are able to find a beautiful event near where they are. And that's the way today to travel less, to travel better. Because if they choose the event, even if it is UTMB Mont-Blanc, they choose it to come and, of course, to make the race, to take part in the race and in the event, but also to discover the country with their family, with their friends, to spend a little bit of time and be able to connect with different communities of person and with different cultures. And I think the relationship is a very important part of the trail running. It is not only the sport, it is a little bit more. It is the possibility to make a travel, to discover a country, to discover the humans who live in this country. And if we have some races with a good reputation in the world, it is the best we can propose, and our little take part to a better world.
Yes, that's very interesting. Very important message to all the people, all the runners in the world. So, yeah. So this is not only for UTMB itself, but our planet Earth, right? So SDG thing is one of the your reason to have the global new World Series. That's pretty interesting, and that should be a great message for us all in our community. Okay, so then you would say, but my question is still sticking to something to business side. So yeah, next I would like to ask you about the IRONMAN group. So the IRONMAN have already bought 3 races, UT Australia, Tarawera, and Mozart 100 in the last 3 years. But as far as I know, those races are not very much changed yet in these 3 years. So I do not know. So what the IRONMAN is going to, what kind of benefit or contribution do you expect from a new partnership with IRONMAN, like media exposure or new marketing strategy? I don't know. What could you tell me some idea about what do you expect from the new partnership?
Today, as you said, we announce only 8. We need to go to 30 in only 1 year. We need to keep the same spirit, the same standards, and everything like that. And the partnership with IRONMAN is really useful to be able to be around 30 races, because as you know, in Australia, in New Zealand, and also Mozartin are already Ironman races. And our work with Ironman is that UTMB make the rules, and Ironman is able to add some events in the UTMB's rules. And if you have a look, these races are not signed Ironman. They will be signed by UTMB. And it is because Ironman is really strong, and we needed that to be able to propose 30 races in 2022. Because now with UTMB International, as you can see, it is a big job to share all the rules and all what we do on UTMB. As you know, to make UTMB Live, because you live in UTMB Live, it is a big job to be able to propose the same rules, to verify that we are connected with sustainability, that we are connected with all the association, to the solidarity and everything like that, a little bit more than only sport. We need to be able to focus on that and to work with IRONMAN to get a lot of races together in these rules, who are our rules. And IRONMAN was the first one, very strong, who accept that UTMB group keep the control. So because of that, I think we cannot answer why there is only 8, and don't accept that we found a partner to be able to go faster.
So Ironman has a broad network of the sports organizers in the world. So you can expect more connection to race organizers in the world, which maybe some countries you haven't go or met anyone, but Ironman has some access to those people, right? Great.
They have teams. They have teams in everywhere in the world. Mm-hmm. And today we prefer to stay focused on the rules, on the spirit, and on everything like that, and not to find the way to keep the races and everything like that. So sometimes we all of us know that it's important to make a big team, to have a good person around you, to be able to go better and faster.
So role is quite very well defined by UTMB group and Ironman group. That's clear.
Well, that's very good. I think a sort of standard of races will be same everywhere, and I think that's very good idea. And but I have one question. For example, if like those Japanese race producers, they are interested in joining UTMB World Series, but the like sort of for example, how much they have to pay to UTMB group, or what they have to sort of qualify in the races, or something like those details are not disclosed to those race organizers. So I don't know how they are going to find the information. Are you going to, like, do you have any plan to disclose those sort of requirements to join UTMB series races?
Okay, how you know there is 2 ways. You may be a UTMB World Series qualifier race, and it is the possibility to give to the runners the proof of experience, because we will use about that the performance index, and if the race want to be organized, to provide these results and everything like that, to make the runners have the possibility to get his own performance index. We know he have this performance index, and we say, okay, no points. You are able to do it because we know that you have the experience. And as a qualifier race, it is free. Then, if you want to be a part of a UTMB World Series, there is many ways, but as you know, if you prefer to have a franchise, of course there is a price, because there is a lot of job from us to support and to do a lot of things for this race. There is another way, and this way is that we are a part in the organization of a race, not buy the race completely, but maybe, and keep the person involved of the country on place, but to have some possibility to take part in all the decision of the administration committee. And to do that, we need to have part in the organization and the company. So there is many ways, but as you can imagine, for these races, it is a big goal to have all the standards for us to be able to export and to organize UTMB Live, to be able to export the registration system, all the discussion, the virtual platforms, and everything. Of course, if somebody work, there is a price for the job. So it is the only thing. And to all the person who say that it is business, I think it is business, but it's not a bad word, business, because each of us have a job and think it's normal to be paid for the job. So it is a business.
Yeah, I understand, but like, how does a race director gonna find the information about what the requirements and what the price, and are you gonna sort of make it clear to list up the price or requirements
They just need to contact
you?
Yeah, not
Okay,
me personally, but UTMB group. And we organize the contact. We have many persons who are able to explain that. Now, you know, I am the president of a group, so I don't do anything myself with just my little fingers, you know. So
Yes.
there is a lot of persons who are more prestigious than me. It may be Frederic Lénard with our CEO. It may be Beth. You know Beth, I think, which is or Christiana. There is many person. This race, this event, just need to contact us, and we organize the contact, the good contact, to find the solution.
I know, yeah.
Okay. Well, Japan has apart from UTMF, Japan has new 100-mile races, if you know. And do you have you approached to any other races in Japan apart from UTMF?
I don't know all the races, and I think it's better if it is in the other side. All these races, if they want, they just need to tell us, because today it is not a commercial way. Today it is on the other side. We we accept to include a lot of organizer. And from my point of view, one may be not enough in Japan. One event may be not enough in Japan because you are a lot of runners. You are a point where only one race don't give the possibility to all the Japanese runners today to take part in a beautiful race. So we are open, and now if the Japanese organizer want to contact us and to say we are interested, and I promise that we discuss with all of them.
Thank you. So listen. So let's say our fellow Japanese organizers. So we may have 2 spots in 30 series events. But I'm just kidding. But I have a tag question to Kaori's question. So it's about UTMB World Series launches brand new own performance index with series events and qualifiers, new qualifiers, right? So so now UTMB will not ask for anything to pay to qualifiers, while ITRA does to get a ITRA point, right? So it's a big change, and you ditched ITRA's performance index and ITRA point system in the same time. So it's a big change for runners, organizers, and ITRA. Honestly, I'm a national representative of Japan of ITRA, so I hear some noise. So what do you think? So I'm just curious. So what is your stance? What is your position to ITRA's performance index and point system, where when you made brand new, it's your own index and
to be honest, it is not this way, and you need a little explanation on the story. Because today, when we create in 2016, 2014 ITRA, it was Michel and me who organized the first meeting, and then ITRA was born. And at this time, because we began that story with many persons as an association, because everybody is able to do 2 things together, we involved UTMB tools and UTMB IT tools to create the performance index and to create all of the qualifying races. So what I say is that some weeks ago, we work and ITRA used our performance index and our tools to,
really?
Yes, and we had a contract with ITRA, and they continue to use our tools and our performance index, creating with a formula created by Didier Kurdi. And for your information, Didier Kurdi is in UTMB group, and all the tools were created by LiveTrail, and LiveTrail is in UTMB group. And we had a contract with ITRA, an agreement, and ITRA some weeks ago said to us, we stop the agreement because we want to stop to be to depend of UTMB. And so now we will create a new formula and a new performance index, and it's not the way. The real one, the one you know, is UTMB performance index. So we will continue to use it to make it better, and to keep it for all the community. And because of that, we will use it because we know it, we know how precious it, and instead of ask some points, qualifying points, where you need to go on one race, another one, everywhere in the world, and then you need to have 15 points, and you have only 14, but you need to have only 3 races, so you need to do 5 points race and not 1 points race to complete and to be able. And we saw a lot of elites also who have not enough points. Remember that Kilian had not enough points because he preferred to take part on other races. So, to be honest, we stop with a point system and we say now we just need to have the proof of the experience of a runner and to know that he take part in one of these races on a 100K, on a 100 miles, on a 50K. And to do that, we change the categories of race. We calculate the performance index in all these categories as it was explained. Maybe the 50K, it is around because we take care of distance and of the denivellation, the kilometre effort, as you know. And if the runner finish one of these races, and this race take part and send to us regularly and is a qualifier race because they send us all the results and everything like that. And this runner has a performance index in the distance it take part and is qualifying. And then what happened with the World Series event? This World Series event, there is 2 ways. One way is with the running stones. If you take part in a World Series event, one of the 30, you get a running stone. As soon as you have one, you are able to go in the lottery. And for the elites, if you are on a podium, on the 3 first step of a podium, 3 first step for the men and 3 first step for women, of course, on all the race of the World Series, you are qualified to go to the UTMB on the finals. And if it's because of that we have some majors and 3, because after speak with all the elites, we learned that they expected to have some events where they are able to be all together, to be able to choose an event where they are sure that they found a lot of them. So on these 3 majors, we keep the 10 first men and the 10 first women to be immediately have the possibility to take part in UTMB Mont-Blanc. And with the age, we take the first of each age class to be able to take part in UTMB Mont-Blanc. And it is a different way for the elite and for the other runners. Because as you know, we need to keep the contact. It is what we want with all the runners, if they are elites or if they are not. One of the most beautiful things in the trail running is that the elite take part on the same race than the regular runners, and it's one of the most beautiful things.
Yeah, so I think the new system is that the performance just is better than old ITRA point system. But what do you found? So when I So when I talked to Kaori-san just before this interview, we found one thing. So in new system, new registration system, one runner can just 100K. I mean, so from 2023, one runner should just the 100K category finish is good enough to qualify UTMB 100 mile. Before so far, the runner should earn 10 ITRA points in 2 races. That means he should run at least 100-mile distance trail race. So Kaori-san and I are just wondering, so is that good to prove the experience in the mountains or trails for a very long time to run Mont-Blanc? What do you think about that? Is that true? Don't you worry about that sort of safety thing? Or
I think if a runner is able to take part in a race of 100K, I'm not sure he is not able to take part in 100 miles, because from the experience of Michel, I saw there is a big step for a runner. And when he finish a marathon, he can take part in a 50K with a denivellation. It's not a big problem. But after, and that take about 1 day, 12 hours to make that. He's able to run only for 1 day. And then you go to the 100K. For the elite, it is 1 day, but for the other one, it is 1 day plus a night. And I think it is, as soon as you run 1 day plus a night, it is not a problem of performance. It is a problem that you are able to run more longer. It is the time with the first thing. And maybe you don't win the race, because a lot of runners don't run to win. They run because they want to be a finisher. And they are able to organize their time to be able to run a more long time. And it's because of that, I think, as soon as a runner have a step to be able to run 1 day plus 1 night, why I think if he can continue to run a day more or a night more, and each time I think it is the problem of a longer of a time to run, not a problem to a performance to be strong or not. And these runners are able to train and to verify that they are able to finish. And if they are not, they stop.
I see. Well, so are you planning to make the barrier time longer, easier?
I really think that it is very difficult for the runners who want to be on the podium, because they run against the other. They compete with the other. But for a runner who wants only to be a finisher, he competes with himself. And why we make this step is that a lot of runners may be completely lost in a world they don't know if they are in the night. But as soon as they have this experience, I think they are able to run in a day more.
But it's sometimes like Japanese races have very runnable races. Maybe some races in US have very runnable races, and even 100-kilometer race, they don't experience overnight.
Say, Connie, but it is a problem for me of kilometre effort. And as of course it is 100K, but not completely flat. It is 100K with at least 2,000 meters of elevation of denivellation.
I see, but still, like it's not long enough for time. Like they don't experience overnight in one race.
In the same time, at the beginning, when we organize a UTMB and there is a lot of race of 100 miles who are more difficult than UTMB and they have they don't need any experience. And I think the problem now is the experience to be lost in high mountain. And today on the UTMB, as soon as you go through the Contamine, you are in the Col du Bonhomme and it is 40K. And you have the experience in a Col du Bonhomme and to cross just until Les Chapieux, and then with the Col de la Seine, you have another step, and you have Courmayeur, and you are able to stop if you are not comfortable.
So you're not worried. That's okay. But what about the ratio of finishes? Number of finishes will be smaller, I guess.
No, I don't think so.
Don't you think?
Because today I think a lot of these races will be complete and with too much runners who want to take part. And of course, there is some who stay, and of course, there is some who stop. And I don't think so, because now the trailers, the experience is growing up because more and more runners exist, and we don't saw that, in the beginning of UTMB. We were happy for the first one to have 30% of person who are finisher. Now we are more 60% of the person who are finisher. And in the same time, the person who stop, who don't finish, sometimes there are person who have a very great experience, because maybe it's not an experience in running, but it is an experience in hiking or something like that, to be able to stay a long time just on the place, and they have a problem, a physical problem, because it is so long. How can you tell me, Carmi, there is a lot of runners who are elite and stop before the end? Because you are, and it's not because you are not strong, it's not because you have no experience, because you run to make a performance, so you are all the time just on your limit. You are able to calculate that, and even if there is a big problem, it is a big problem, because so. And in the same time, when you are a regular runner, you are not on this limit. You are just a little bit before the limit. So you are able to rest, you are able to stop and take a little bit of energy more and to continue maybe slower, and you are able to finish. So I think we cannot imagine that the finisher are the best, and yes, they are very good, but they are not the one who are the strongest. They are the one who just run with themselves, against themselves, against their own training and their own capacity to continue and their own energy. So they were able to train. The elite, it's different. They are not in training. Training is a lot of things. But each race, each event is a moment where they are just on the borderline. And this borderline, there is one side where everything is broken, and the other side, you are the best. So
So Michelle has long, very experienced trail runner, and she has 18 years study of all the runners in UTMB. So the new standard is proved by himself. Yeah, I know, but absolutely, so Michelle is one of the most experienced runner in the world, I believe. Well, okay. So the next one is the last but not the least. So let's talk about something about the UTMB Mont-Blanc this summer. 2021 edition. Maybe it should be very different from previous editions due to COVID-19 and absolutely. So we will not see many people gathering in Place du Triangle d'Amitié. And what is your challenge to put that event in this difficult and very fluid situations?
today, the situation is really more positive than in 2020. Because with the vaccine, with the test and everything, we have the possibility to organize. To be sure, we organize a complete alphabet of different plan to be able to rescue plan or something, every plan we have, and we know what we have to do. And because we did that, because it is easier to say we don't use this plan, we prefer to stay on the plan A, and it's depends of the moment of the end of August, the situation in the end of August. So I don't know if there is any person on the Triangle de l'Amitié. I don't know already, but we are prepared to propose to the runner a very beautiful event, even if there is nobody on the Triangle de l'Amitié. They are able to find all these person along the course, because we have 170k to put all the person, and the Triangle de l'Amitié is very small. So you can imagine you have a person all along the race, it's not a problem. And we are sure that we are able to propose a very beautiful event as a rebirth of the events in trail running. It will be a big party, and as it was a new first edition.
Wow. So that's a kind of a prelude to new UTMB Mont-Blanc starting from 2023, right? So maybe it's a kind of prelude to the new editions.
It will be not as 2019, but I think the emotion will be very increased to be able to come back with new possibilities to run and to make a very big event with a lot of emotion, to be able to meet all together and not only on virtual places. We need to be all together.
Kaori-san, do you have just one more question?
Yeah, well, about this year's UTMB, I'm planning to go to France, and even though if I need a 1 week isolation, and I'm prepared for that. But for regulation difference, like do you have any change in regulations? For example, no supporters or like no outside assistant or something like that?
It's possible. It's one of the plan. Maybe the plan C or the plan D or the plan H, as we say to you, and we will keep you, all of you, informed of what is possible. From my point of view, it may be not a problem, but we are not in the end of August, as you know. So I can't say really what will happen in the end of August. If I was one person who knows that, I think I have no time to speak with you now.
Yeah.
Okay, I see. So when are you sort of planning to announce that decision?
As soon as we can. As soon as we can. I don't know when you come in France, but today I think the things are better and better and better. So imagine the worst thing, and you are sure that you have better. It is my point
I'm looking
of view.
forward
Today,
to it very much.
we organize everything if we have the worst conditions. And we know we are able to propose you that. Because we think it is easier to say, oh, you have not this rule. We can stay like before. It is easier in this side than in another one.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Catherine. So you gave us a lot of things to digest. For all the stuff is so much thing to digest in just 1 week. So I would like to help UTMB group and all the learners by writing in Japanese articles on my own DogsorCaravan. So people who are watching this interview, please stay tuned with my DogsorCaravan and all the interview series in this YouTube or podcast. Thank you for listening and watching and reading. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Catherine. Sorry. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Kaori-san.